Well, here we go. Talking about baggage. My baggage, your baggage. Everybody move your baggage. Ooh, ooh. Let's all. I don't know. Chant. Maybe not. Um, why is baggage such a good topic right now? Because, the more you get to know people, the more you realize even the most perfectly sounding people, like I know people that society would look at as total outcasts, and they're sometimes some of the smarter people I know. And I also know really smart Ivy League educated people with law degrees who can be quite stupid, despite a lot of education. And what fundamentally makes the difference for me in terms of somebody being whole or attractive is not who they are or where they've come from, but how much they've used their life experience, what they know, what they've learned, and where they've come from to help them both have a better life and also understand both the people and things happening around them. So even during COVID, as I watched people of all shapes and sizes and ages and education levels deal with, the information that we were receiving, what they were seeing themselves on the street, I found it fundamentally fascinating how one type of person can react to two different things two different ways, or people that I seemingly thought would react or respond this way ended up reacting that way. And I think all of that goes back to kind of like not so much what's happening as much as what your conditioning is about and what your baggage is about. And mostly when I use the word baggage, I'm speaking to the things that you fear, because I think that no matter what your upbringing, good, bad, or indifferent, we all had kind of things that happened that would be like we loved, we look back with fond memories, and other things that were like, oh, I'd rather forget that happened, or I'd like to pretend it never happened at all, ever, or ever talk about it again. And yet, what one fails to realize is that some of those more harsh experiences are they'll never be good, right? So let's get that out of the way. I mean, it's not, I was reading something yesterday on Instagram that's like, we don't have to come to love what's happened to us. And no, you don't. But you do have to accept it, because no one can say, I don't accept my reality, because your reality is your reality. You can reframe that reality. You can look at it differently, et cetera, and definitely say, like, I don't want to accept looking at it this way. I want to instead move into looking at it that way, because that's the only way I can accept it. But as far as the specific circumstances, especially the more harmful and traumatic stuff, it's very, very hard to get to that place of accepting it. But here's the thing: if you don't learn to capitalize on your baggage, it just holds you back. It's almost like you're just carrying a weight of somebody else's shit that they perpetrated on you, and you're just going to carry that your whole life. And that's really sad, because life is to be lived moment to moment as you are. And the thing is that I'm using this word baggage to talk through things that, like, people think, I often find that their baggage is who they are, and I would both agree with that and disagree with that. So, for example, like some of the more negative things that happened to me when I was young are responsible for some of the best aspects of my personality, because the way I grew was in response to the pain of this negativity. But this thing that I grew in my character from my conditioning ended up boding me very well in my future adult relationships and even in business, right? But that doesn't mean it can't still rear its ugly horns and dig into me and still be something that, even though I would call it a gift, doesn't have negative repercussions. And I think the point is not to completely change who I am, not to look back at negative experiences and to say the people who perpetrated harm upon me should have been different. I mean, yes, they should have done things differently if, in fact, the things that they did were harmful. But again, I have the power to reframe and therefore recontrol this kind of like power setting, so that the baggage that I carry isn't something that weighs me down, right? Like, in other words, I'm looking at the experience as something like, okay, first of all, how do I learn about myself and become who I want to be as a result of that negativity or that baggage? And then thereafter, also, once I've learned about myself and who I want to be, how can I help more people? Right? Like, that's always what it's all about. Like, if I am not learning and growing for my sake in order to turn it over to something that lives and works and breathes for your sake, I don't look at that as really living. Because the height of the cherry and the whipped cream on top of a sundae of living for me is the part that I get to share with you. So There you go. That's the baggage, and I think we all, it behooves all of us to like take a look at that baggage and find out what it means to us, right? Like maybe if you're in your 40s, 50s, and 60s, nobody's expecting you to change overnight, but everybody can still change just a little bit when it's worth it to them. And that being said, also, I put something in the text under the Facebook Live about my masterclass. It's happening in December. I'm offering two options. There's one in the evening on Tuesday, December 6th, midday, Thursday, December 8th. It's a master class called, you'll see some of my reels also about this, different types of perfectionism, workaholism, resentment, overachievement, etc. I'm looking for, Gen X, Gen Y professional women who are definitely like having a hard time at work and don't really understand what's happening to them and around them. And they seeking some kind of change or even letting go of some of that baggage. So the masterclass is Why Everyone's on Vacation But Me, How Perfectionism is Stealing Your Joy. There is a link, like I said in the text. If you'd like to register, go to that page. I hope some of you can join me. I hope some of you need what I'm offering, because that's the whole point. I created it because I thought people needed it. And it seems to be that around the holidays, people need to look at their perfectionism and overachievement even more because things get really stressful really quickly. So make some time. Please register. Thanks for joining me and have a great day.